So welcome back. So today what we're going to do is we're going to work on a couple of new skills, and we're going to learn how to orient and to view our designs. So the first thing we're going to take a look here as at the origin. And if you take a look here at the origin over here, we can see that we have the plane you can see. Now you may want to see this planes all the time. So what we're going to do is if we mouse over, I can see the eye. If I click on it, each one of them disappear. Okay, so that way we can turn them on, turn them off, we can see them. If you want to see them, you can just put your mouse over it and you can see them how you want. Also, remember, you have this over here, and this right here is another way to see things. This is called the view cube. So remember I mentioned that we have the X going across, we have the Y here, and we have the Z. So the Z goes across, coming out this way, and you have the Y and the X. So we have the across, left and right, and the Y up and down, and the Z coming out. So now let's take a look at this view cube for a second. Now if I click on any one of these, it will automatically rotate my shape for me however I want. I can go in circles, in half circles, I can go automatically left and right. I can automatically jump wherever I want. Now, I can drag this wherever I want on the screen. That's great. And you can also grab your, if you have a mouse, you can center click the wheel and you can move the shape how you want, and also use the mouse to zoom in and out. Now, if you don't have a mouse, you can just take two fingers on the mouse pad and just put fingers close and pull them apart, and you can zoom in and out. So that's some movements. Now, but I want to work on this. I want to get this to a place where I can always see. So if I right click on the view cube anywhere, you see where it says isometric. So that'll put me right back to the design shape that I had before. It's an isometric design. You see three sides of it. We talked about isometrics when we did sketches in our notebooks. Now, another thing you should always have is when you right click on it is zoom to fit. That means it'll make the image as big as your screen allows. That way you can see the full size of whatever you have in front of you. So that's 2. Now, you'll be moving around and you'll be altering the shape and the position of this. So you always want to come back to your home position. Now, there is no way to do that all the time. But whatever you want, whatever your side, wherever you start from, and you want to make that your starting point, what we're going to do is we're going to create a name position that will be where you always go back to. So if I come down here, this is the camera and renders option. So if I click on it, first thing I want you to look at is isometric, diametric, and trimetric. So if I right click again, see isometric. So now they're comparably not that different. They just shift the angles a little, but I prefer isometric. Now, in here, I click here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to look for here where it says the main view. So as soon as I have the position where I want to zoom to fit, and I want the angles to be right, I'm going to come over here, and I'm just going to type in whatever I want, home, and then I'm going to hit the plus, and when I do, it'll create a new home view. So if I come in here and I move this around and I want to go back to where I started from and how I want to start, I click this, it'll automatically do it for me. Now, again, I'm just going to zoom to fit, boom, right back to where I started from. Now, I had set this up beforehand. Now, another option here, I'm going to move this back up here in the corner. Now, if I click on this, I want to go back into this render setting. Now, we have ways of seeing this. So if I click on shaded, that's what you see here. If I click on shaded with edges, you don't see the dark edges anymore. Now, hidden edges, I can see through the box. I can see all the corners. That's actually kind of cool sometimes if you want to. And you got to be careful. And I don't want to open that. Hidden edges removed. So it's now just a white box. This will help speed up your process of building, especially if you're on a Chromebook and it's running really slow. You can take off the shading, and you see this is what it looks like. This can be a little disconcerting. It's hard to see sometimes. And then, of course, translucent, and you can change it. You can change this however you want, however you feel most comfortable. All right, so that's the view tool. And with this, we can alter it, and you'll be changing it and playing around with it. It makes it easier to work on this project. Now up here, this is the search tool. In here, if you get lost or you're looking for something you can't find it, you can just type it in here. So if I just type in extrude, oh look, here's that. Here's the shortcut key. Here's what it does. So if you're doing a project and you forget and you're supposed to do something, type it in there and it'll help you find it. You can just click on it and you'll jump right to it. See, it even highlights it for you. So it'll help you remember what you're doing. And it'll happen from time to time. You'll forget. You're still learning. All right. So now we did that. So the next thing we're going to try. Now remember, you can pause this video, go back and play with the features. So what we're going to do now is we're going to try some additive construction, and we're going to add to these parts and subtract from them. So first thing I'm going to do is we're going to create a new sketch. Now to create a new sketch, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on here, and you'll see that it turns yellow, and then I'm going to click on sketch. So now I have this right here. So what I'm going to do is real simple, is I'm going to create a part on here. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on here, and then I'm going to use this. This is called project. Now, it says project edges or faces of an existing part of a sketch onto an active sketch. So what that does is basically it takes something I've already done and brings it into the new sketch. It's like layering on top of it. So I'm using the past drawing to make a new drawing. So I'm going to activate this, and now this is part of my new sketch. So now I can play with this and draw on top of it, which is exactly what I want to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here, and I'm just going to make a box. Now you'll see it tries to get me to the dead center of the shape, and so I'm just going to click once, and I'm going to make just a rectangle. And there's a reason I'm going to make this rectangle like this. So I'm going to just click on this to finish it. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is real simple. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try to get this to be exactly a certain distance. I want to figure out this right here. So what we're going to do is I am going to go ahead and make this an extrusion first. So I'm going to extrude it, and then I'm going to click on it. Okay. And you see how I try to grab everything at the same time? All right. So you got to be careful with that. So I'm going to come back in here, and all I want to do is to grab that. Okay. So see, I can do this or do that. Okay. So now I'm going to go ahead and click on this, and you see it didn't grab the center. So if I extrude this, it does that. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do in here, I'm going to have remove, new, or I'm going to have intersect. So now we have all these new kinds of things coming here. So I'm going to have the add part, but we need to only get this part here. So you see how I unclicked it? I click on it, now it changes that. So you got to be careful when you are selecting. I want to show you this again. So if I just click extrude, right, and then here, it'll take everything. So if I just click on the extrusion again, and then just click on what I want, it'll take exactly what I need. I just want to make sure I had that highlighted, and I got that. All right, so we have that. I'm just going to hit click there. Okay, so now we have this here. Now I'm going to show you another way to add. I'm going to change this by coming in here, and we are going to use the Revolve tool. Now this is pretty cool. Watch what happens. The Revolve tool lets me take this shape right here, and then I want to do a full revolve, and it tells me to choose an axis. So I'm going to choose this axis right here, and then my square turned into a circle or cylinder. So again, revolve. Okay. I'm going to choose this right here. I'm going to choose that axis right there. And I'm going to choose which face. And then automatically, once I hit this, boom, now I have that. Now I'm going to go ahead and just change this back over here to my shaded options. So now you can see it. So this is, we just added this part to it. That's awesome. So this is additive construction. We added to it. So now I'm going to take this side right here, and I'm going to make a new sketch. And now what we're going to do is we are going to do some subtractive. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use the Polygon tool. And I'm just going to click here, and it automatically starts creating a polygon for me. Okay, so I'm just going to go like that right there. Just create that polygon right there. And if I pull in or out, it changes the number of shapes, of points on it. So here's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I think you get the idea. So I'm going to leave a little triangle here. I'm going to leave a triangle right there. I'm going to just change the face too so I can see it. Okay. So now we have this right here. Oh, now what happened to it? Where did it go? Well, did it go where I think it went? Let's see. What we didn't do? We didn't hit the check mark. So again, here, sketch, again, insert polygon. And there you go. So I made the shape I want. Stretch it out to the number of points I want. Click on it, and then there. So the sketch is done. So sketch 2 is done. So now we have that there. Pretty simple, right? Right. So I'm going to click on all these sides right there. And what we want to do is we want to mess around with this again. So again, I'm going to go ahead and extrude. And what I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to go ahead and I want to pull it backwards. Okay? And I'm going to go to solid, and I'm going to remove this triangle. And now it is going to have, I'm going to change the dimension to 25. There we go. Boom. Now I just cut a hole in my rectangle, my square, whatever one you have. And so now if I go ahead and do this, sorry about that, now I have this go at my friend here is now in here. So now I have this. Let me go and turn them sideways. There we go. And you see I have a triangle cut into here. So that's a great thing to do right now. So now the only thing I have a problem with is that I don't like where that is placed. So I'm going to come back in here, and I'm going to go sketch 2, and I want to move this. So first thing, I'm going to come in here and we explore the dimension tool. So add dimensions to and between sketch entities. So if I click on it and I just click on the bottom line from here to here, then I should have a dimension for it. Now it says it can't create dimensions between these two. So that's interesting. So I'm going to try this again. Boom. Boom. Oh, can't do dimension there either. Answer? Pretty simple. That's not part of the sketch I'm doing. However, if I click on this side and then I use project. Now, if I were to click on the triangle, I can see how much that is. So again, it can't dimension things that are not on the right plane. So now I can see that here. I can see that this is there, and I can also dimension from here to here to show me that's 45. So I can just change these numbers by simple typing. Let's say I want to do it at 60, and it moves it over to the left. So that's one way of doing that. So now, what if I want to put this triangle flat? Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to click off of this, and we're going to come in here and look at constraints. So now, if I go ahead and say, okay, this triangle, I want to, these are constraints. So I want it to be horizontal, and I say I want it to be horizontal here. Now you see how it moved it directly there. So I'm going to come back in here, undo that, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take another constraint, and we can look at all the different types of constraints. So if I come perpendicular, come in here, come in there, again, perpendicular. Now you can't see it because it moved it off the screen. So we can readjust all these to have some kind of constraint to everything else. So I'm just going to go ahead and take horizontal, and I'm just going to click on that line right there, and it takes it right there. Okay, so now that is my constraint, and I'm going to go ahead and constrain this to about 20, and that should move it back up to where I need it to be. There you go. Now I can keep changing these constraints to however I want. There you go. And there you go. So now I constrain this how I want. Now if I finish the sketch, boom, I moved this around, I locked it in place. Now it is exactly where I need it to be. See? There you go. See how it's flat here and flat here? Now I can just keep going. Now, so that takes care of a lot of our tools for today. Hope you guys had a good day. See you guys tomorrow.